here comes the dog. Yeah, that'll maybe be a problem. Oh, Bob, no. Ha! Get out of here, Bob. No, that didn't work. Well, the camera's still standing. Sort of. Okay. A couple of things I was going to talk about. I actually, I'm pleased to see that the world is still out there. I actually was beginning to think we had an EMP or something because for the last few days now, my phones haven't worked. You know, I've got 3 phones and a tablet, well, 2 tablets, and all these devices I use the same SIM card for them. Well, all of a sudden one day, nothing was working. You know, and then finally the tablet worked a little bit, and then it quit working. You know, it just says invalid SIM card or no SIM card. Either one, it goes different ways. So I thought, well, either you guys are blowing yourselves up, or I've come to the conclusion now that that SIM card has gone bad. Not surprising. When it's really cold, things like that happen. You know, the high-tech stuff really can't handle cold. So I'm probably going to have to, if I can get this uploaded, we'll see. You know, if I keep it by the stove, it seems to work a little bit. You know, we'll see. Better not make it too long though. But you can see I've been wearing these coveralls. Okay, and they're getting kind of grubby. But one thing I didn't mention, when I bought these, you know, the bibs and the jacket, okay, I did a smart thing, which people used to do a lot of, called the 2-pant suit. You know, if you're going to buy a really good suit, you buy 2 pairs of pants for it, because the pants are what wear out or get damaged. So for the life of the suit, you buy 2 pair of pants. And that used to be a common thing. The suit would come with 2 pair of pants. I don't know that that happens anymore. You know, now fashion, you know, and the really good stuff, fashion does not come and go. You know, a good thing is a good thing forever. Doesn't go out of style or in style, you know. So that's how they used to handle it. And I'm a kind of a firm believer in that same theory. I've always, you know, backups for backups. And so when I bought these, I bought another brand new pair. So I have that fallback position. Because I have found over the years that you will wear out 2 pairs of bibs before the jacket goes bad. In part, you know, your bibs will really take the beating here. And a lot of my time during the day, if it isn't super cold, I'm not wearing a jacket. I just wear, you know, a heavy sweatshirt underneath the bibs, and that's enough. That works fine. So the jackets really, you really very seldom wear a jacket out. Though I know somebody was saying, I mean, somebody said they wear jackets out, but it could be that they're not, you know, they're using the jacket as a jacket, not part of the ensemble. Well, the way I wear them, it's the bibs that take the beating. But this way I do have that, you know, fallback. But it was commonly called the 2-pant suit. I think they still do though, but it's probably only in the higher end stuff. Now when I was figuring out that you guys hadn't blown yourselves up, when I finally got online enough to figure this out, I was kind of checking into the whole thing going on with Russia and Kazakhstan. You know, okay, that's a big area, and it used to be part of the Soviet Union. And they're independent now, like a lot of those countries are. former Soviet bloc countries. But they still have a mutual defense treaty very much like our NATO. Now, when this first was going on, the problems there, my first thought was, it's kind of our playbook, except for the chopping heads off thing. We seem to draw the line. We'll drone strike anybody, but we don't generally get into the head chopping thing. So that kind of threw me. But the other day I happened to catch the guy who used to be the ambassador there, our guy, talking. And it started getting me thinking, I think we probably had something to do with that. It looks really suspicious. Some of the things he was saying made me think like, yeah, this is another one of them regime change opportunities, particularly when you find out they're like the world's biggest producer of uranium. It's where the Russians actually have their space port, their launch facilities are there, and they have a hell of a lot of gas and oil. And, we're always looking for resources if we can weasel our way in someplace, because I think they actually are doing quite a little selling to China. But, their whole idea that, this started because of a raise in the price of gas. Well, what they had actually done, their gas had a limit to it, the price that they could charge. And it was under the cost of production. And all they simply did was to drop that limit. So they weren't subsidizing people anymore. But even at the moment, the gas was like maybe 80 cents a gallon. Now it's like $1.77 in our conversion. Seems like a hell of a thing to get that wound up about. So I don't think that was the deal. I think there was more going on here, and I think we were behind it, especially when you find out that Chevron is actually running the oil production there. So, we've got our big oil, and we do anything for big oil. So I don't know. I think there's more to that story. But it's funny because that damn Secretary of State of ours, Blinken, one of the reasons I say that I'm suspicious, I was suspicious early, because immediately that this happened, the spokesman for the White House was saying, we didn't do anything, it ain't our fault. No, we didn't do it. Before anybody was even mentioning that or accusing that of anything, they were immediately denying it. That makes me suspicious when our denial is there before the accusation. I mean, they suspected there was some outside influence in this, but they weren't trying to pin it on us, and all of a sudden we're denying that we did it. But now that Blinken, he goes on, and he's talking trash, saying like, why did the Russians go in there? Why, like the Russians are trying to rebuild the Soviet Empire. Well, no, it's the same as, the agreement they have between the old Soviet countries. They do have a mutual security agreement, very much like our NATO, except not as intrusive as our NATO. So that shouldn't have come as a surprise, but he's making it out like this happened out of the blue, I don't know. The thought is either he's incompetent and doesn't understand that that's going on, that they have that security arrangement, or he likes to pretend that they don't have it, or was maybe this whole little adventure a test to see if this was functional? We're pissed around in Ukraine, and maybe we're taking a little poke at it just to see how they react. Because there again, you know, like Belarus is in on. In fact, they sent forces to quell these riots. Then as President Blinken says, but it was mostly peaceful riots. And I thought, oh, chopping people's heads off ain't a peaceful riot. Burning down all the government buildings, that is not peaceful. That isn't a protest. I'm getting more suspicious. I mean, I don't trust them rascals anyway. But that quick denial, and then this Blinken seemed to be oblivious to what the real story is there. That really makes me suspicious. Well, takeaway from this then is two-pants suit and don't trust our government one little bit. But honestly, I thought, well, maybe somebody nuked somebody, you know, when all of a sudden electronic devices don't work. But then cold weather will do that. I mean, I've seen that happen in a lot of stuff. That's why I like the older stuff that can take a cold. So, because by now this camera is soaked with cold, and we'll see if I can actually upload this. But no EMP. Too bad. I'm set up for it. The M37 is EMP proof. But it's a sad world where you know, if your phone don't work, you think, oh my God, somebody nuked somebody. You know? But the potential is there. It's right there all the time. It's funny. You know, because I even looked, is there any traffic going on the highway? You know, it seems that anybody, it wasn't much moving. Of course, it was like 25 below. We've had a whole string of very cold weather. Even now it's like 10 below. But I think one more night, and then I think it's going to be like maybe up to 0 tomorrow. And then we're going to get up to almost thawing someday. You know, there's going to be a stretch of fairly warm weather, which means I have to scurry around and drag stuff like this up into the yard. And I've been plowing snow because the snow that fell, you know, we had like a foot of snow, but it never settled. You know, the snow was just waiting, just loose fluff ready to blow any time. Well, it blew. First from the south, then from the north, it just kept blowing. So I ended up going out and opening up some roads again, which is always fun when it's, you know, 30 below, but I didn't get it done. But I'm looking for a little break in the weather. You know, that cold gets old after a while. But usually it is that way, you know, you struggle through the cold parts, you get a little warm, you get braced up for the next cold, because the next one's going to come. So you get wood in, and get animals fed, get everything done, you know, and do anything you have to do, which might include me having to go into town and get a SIM card. I actually thought I was going to do it today. You know, I was considering doing it today, but I really don't want to unless I absolutely have to. So we'll see if I can baby this thing through a little longer. I don't really need a phone. I really don't need the internet. You know, I mean, I could... If this should die, it's no big deal to me. But I'm pretty sure all I gotta do is get a new SIM card. This one evidently is just exhausted, and the cold was too much for it. Because they're complicated, you know, very small, you know, like a fourth the size of a postage stamp. But they're actually a little computer. Little solid state thing, you know. And they don't like the cold. But anything plastic or electronic, extreme cold gets a little touchy for them. Well, at least this one ain't closed down. I've had a few of them. It's tough to break them loose. And I think I can snake the tractor right in here and drag her out in one chunk. But I got a few in here buried too, so I hit the 3-point in here and kind of pop them out of the snow, see what I'm dealing with.